Hello and welcome to Trojan Talk. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. Today we'll be finding out a way that area schools can incorporate games into some history lessons and a workshop this summer to help bring all that together. My guest today is Dr. Scout Blum with the History Department here at Trojan University to tell us a little bit about this workshop. Thanks for joining me here today.
Thank you, Aaron. I'm glad you had me over.
And we're familiar probably around here, students in the university, with your class, History Through Games, that you've introduced within the last year or so, that has become popular among students and teaching history through board games and card games. But this is expanding, trying to get the lessons spread out to area schools and grade schools and things of that sort. Tell us a little about this workshop and how this all came about.
So this was a grant that we applied for from the Alabama Humanities Foundation, and David Carlson is the other primary investigator with this. But so this is part of a program that the Alabama Humanities Foundation has called the Super Program, which basically does workshops for teachers, and they deliver graduate level content, but then also sort of help them incorporate those lessons into the classroom. And so what we are doing is sort of geared toward the bicentennial of Alabama's becoming a territory, and then soon, in a couple of years, the bicentennial of statehood. So we are gearing around that content and showing the teachers, and it's anybody from 4th grade to 12th grade, how they can incorporate games into their classroom to get those kinds of lessons across.
And of course, you have experience with this in teaching a class here on campus that uses games to teach history to college students, and you have learned that it's a fairly good medium of trying to get these lessons taught to some people who may not be interested in the concepts.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's been really neat to see not only how it can draw kids in who might not be interested in history necessarily. You know, if you're using games as a way of getting them in, they become very interested in it. But what I've also found is that the learning goes a lot deeper than, you know, if you're just lecturing at them and they're just taking notes. That's a very passive way of learning. With the games, it's a lot more active, and they really become a lot more engaged. And you know, the analysis and the level that they're able to see the topic is a lot deeper. So it's been a really neat way to see how learning, and if you try to make learning a little fun or a little different, how that can change things.
And now, if for any instructors out there who are watching this and are thinking, you know, this is something I'm interested in, it kind of gives us an idea of how the structure of the workshop and what they can expect out of this.
So basically what they'll be doing, it's a 3-day workshop, and they will be coming in and they'll be hearing content lectures from, you know, we have experts in slavery, so they'll hear some things about slavery, experts in Alabama and Georgia as a territory. And by the way, it's not just for 4th grade teachers, that's where Alabama history is taught, but for anyone who's doing, you know, some of this early territorial or westward expansion history. But anyway, they'll come in and they'll hear some content lectures. We will talk to them about how different kinds of games can be incorporated into classes. We'll have actual, they'll get an actual copy of Settlers of Catan that they can take back to their classroom. We'll show them how to use that. We'll have several other games that they will actually walk away with copies with. We're hoping to make sure that each one of the teachers begins to walk through and develop their own game that they're interested in producing for their classroom on whatever topic they want to produce it on. So, you know, we're interested in helping them with different styles of games and different kinds of games, and how they can, you know, bring those to the classroom.
And of course, and then like you said there, they actually get some games to take with them and back. So that's part of it. In addition to just teaching it, they'll be learning and they'll be able to take those games back they're learning from back to their classroom.
Right.
So an added benefit there that's kind of helps that building block process there.
Yes, yeah. So they'll be able to take those things right back with them, right?
And now, in incorporating it into what's going on here with the bicentennial, obviously some of those games aren't necessarily designed for Alabama history.
Exactly.
But I guess that's part of the learning process is figuring out how to mold some of these games to particular curricula, correct?
Exactly. Settlers of Catan is sort of a civilization developing game, but it has a lot of really sort of important features that you can think about when you're thinking about westward expansion and how civilizations develop and how they get spread. So, they'll use that game as a way to introduce those kind of concepts rather than specifically Alabama. Now,
And
there will be games that we'll be doing that are specifically Alabama
Okay.
related, but we'll also, be very supportive of teachers who want to try to develop
and
games.
branch out a little bit.
Yes.
So now,
Yes.
anyone out there is interested in participating, is how can they register or find out information about this?
So if they just go to the Alabama Humanities Foundation website and then look for Super Teachers
Okay.
programs, they can find that even if they just Google that. They're welcome to email me and I'll help. My email is sblum@troy.edu. So.
All right. Well, here's hoping that the learning through games expands into the younger students around Alabama with your help. And thanks for joining us today to tell us a little bit about it. So
Thank you for having me.
thank you. And thank you for joining us on today's edition of Trojan Talk.